people assume that the success of these movies will mean the success of the comics. And I don't know if that was your experience. If having 30 Days of Night being made into a movie helped your profile and helped
The
you.
movie itself did not. Here's the deal. It took 5 years to make the film. I got name recognition and a career within the comics field from the news of the film option, which was big at the time because it was before all the Marvel DC films. And it really was part of a resurgence of horror in general, especially within comics. It was like the first big one. It was before The Walking Dead. So it was $1 million film option, but it's split between like 11 to 20 people. So, but the big number was newsworthy. So when the movie did come out, we did get a real boost in sales of the collection of the first 3 issues, the 30 Days of Night graphic novel, basically. So there was money in that, but that was because it was one single story people could pick up. They heard there was a movie. They liked the trailer. I'm going to read the book first. I'm going to know about that. It's one book. That was an easy sell. There wasn't 50 years worth of history of changing characters and why is this character's got blue hair now and a different gender versus, from the movie versus the book that they're reading that is like, because the superhero stuff completely changes, doesn't usually reflect anything to do with the movie, which is like the beginning usually, or very early on of whatever story they're telling that, because they have to give this new audience the ground rules and everything and begin from scratch. And American comics are mired in their continuity and stuff like that, I think. So that's where like things like 30 Days of Night, we had a little success. I mean, we didn't sell millions, but we certainly saw a huge uptick for a period. Apparently most books do. When in that, there's a golden period about a week from a movie's release. So when all the trailers are out, building hype because of marketing, but with the movies, that's when you want to have your book in stores. And apparently the publishers screwed that up a little bit. So we lost a lot of money, but we still had really good money or really good sales, which led to a bit more income. But you're right. You're absolutely right, because the comics aren't made also for new readers, generally speaking. They're only catering to existing readers. They're trying to change that, but they're changing in a very drastic way. But then a friend of mine has pointed out on his YouTube channel, and I agree with him, in the way manga does it, in that they produce large tomes where you can literally read about this story. It could be a huge long story, but they just go in volumes and you can read right from the beginning all the way through, and people do that. It's very hard to do that in, like, if you want to, I want to read Thor. Well, what Thor from when? Because they don't do it in chronological big order with big collections and things. You can't follow a character. And it's not one story then. It's just a whole bunch of people picking up after each other, telling different stories about this one character. So it's hard. It's hard. I'll stick to what I do.
I mean, it's a little bit different with 30 Days of Night in the sense that there's a significant overlap between horror movie fans and comic book fans. Sometimes fans of one would be fans of the other. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The other big project I did for the mainstream, so maybe you've heard of it, Dead Space, was a game. So I did a prequel comic to the game for the first Dead Space. There was actually 3. It got 2 million down. They made a little motion comic out of the pages I did, out of the panels. They cobbled them together, added sound and all that. And they made it available for download on PlayStation back in the day, quite a few years ago now. Got 2 million downloads. So that's probably the biggest thing I've ever had seen by 2 million people, which is great. And I did get a whole bunch of new fans because they were already into things, horror. And they realized there was a comic for this cool game they wanted to pick up. So it was great outreach. And that comic was actually marketing. It was paid for in a marketing budget by the game company. Comic companies couldn't do that. But I got a lot of new fans out of it. Yeah, and you're right. There's a big crossover with horror. Well, with my style, because my style's not terribly comic booky in the traditional sense. So if you like Tim Burton films with his aesthetic, an artist that looks like that but is also doing comics could be much more appealing than, say, someone who draws Superman. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's my theory.